So the topic of tonight's little talk blog is same-sex marriage. Ooh, what a subject this is. Huh. It's amazing how much controversy one little subject can cause. I personally, one would think that with everything going on in our country right now, with as many people that are angry and filling the streets, and people who, I don't know, like myself, who have a college education, who can't make ends meet, who can't afford dental work, even with insurance. I'm paying out of my hind end for my insurance every month, and still can't afford the co-pays for the things I need to get done. There are children who don't eat unless, well, if it wasn't for their school programs and their breakfasts and their lunches, sometimes those are the only meals these kids get. We have children who are killing themselves because they're being bullied, and yet for some reason the issue of same-sex marriage still, ooh, we got to fight that one, and that needs to be on a big agenda. My sarcasm is aside now. On Monday I'm being asked to speak. I'm being asked to speak at a local gathering. And it's kind of like putting out there, why would someone who is heterosexual give a darn about the issue of allowing same-sex partners to marry? Well, although I don a shorter hairdo, I am in fact a heterosexual woman. Yes, I have been mistaken for a lesbian, but I assure you I'm not. My sister, on the other hand, is a very open lesbian woman. We were raised in an amazing household where there was love and kindness and compassion. And although I'm sure we had just as much dysfunction as anybody else, there was no drug use, there was no alcoholism, there was no physical abuse, there was no sexual abuse. Really, we had it pretty good. And to this day, although my parents are divorced and had been for quite some time, we spend Thanksgiving together each year, and every Christmas we spend Thanksgiving together. Yeah, no, that didn't make sense. Every Christmas we spend as a family as well. Yes, that includes mom and dad in the same room, because they're still very good friends. They realized there was a reason they married each other. It's because at one time they actually liked each other, and they held on to that friendship. Fast forward. I was able to marry because why? I'm straight. Plain and simple. That's the only reason. Was it because my ex-husband and I were just so amazingly compatible that, people just didn't have a choice but to allow us to marry? No, it's because I'm straight. And the sad truth is, because I'm straight, if I want to, I can get married 10 more times and never apologize for any of it. Now, other than court costs and, alimony and child support and whatever else would happen with me and my 12 ex-husbands, if that's how I chose to live my life, if I wanted to change my marriage like some people change their undies, then I could, because I'm straight. And I'm wondering how this makes sense, because the argument I'm hearing is that marriage is a sacred union under God. Sacred union. You hear me? Sacred. And it's something we need to hold it like this, very gently, because it's sacred. And it's this union. It's a man and a woman, and they come together in this sacred, beautiful, holy union. Of course, unless it doesn't work out, then you get divorced. Yeah, and if you're straight, you can try it again 4 or 5 more times until you get it right. But it's sacred. It's sacred. Okay, I don't think this is really what God would have in mind if this was such a sacred union. Wouldn't you think it'd be more like, okay, look, straight people, this is a sacred union. And because it's sacred, you get one chance. One. So if you're going to get married, you make sure this is it. Because there are no number twos. Why? Because it's sacred. And we don't sit there and just make a mockery out of something that's sacred. So what that tells me is this whole sacred argument, there's not a lot to it, is there? Because statistically, I know, statistics, they're funny, aren't they? But statistically speaking, us straight people, yeah, we're up to like 55, 56% divorce rate in our country. Isn't that great? I say we're kind of not doing great with it. And when I say we, I mean a collective. I don't mean you. You might be married for, 42 years. I've seen it. 50 years, still happy. Overall, though, that's maybe one in like 12 couples that actually accomplish that. We just don't accomplish that really well. The other thing you hear is if you allow those gay, homosexual people to get married, well, there goes family values. Really? Again, where are the family values? Do you know how many children right now are living in a single household with just mom? Sometimes mom has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 daddies. And it's not because mom is a hoe and all she does is sleep around. That's not necessarily the case. What's sad is mom could have been 17, thought she was in love, hooked up with some guy, got pregnant, and he ditched her. So now she's a single mom out on her own, and mom goes on, and at age 23, mom meets another man, falls hopelessly in love, thinks he's it, they hook up, maybe they even move in. She gets knocked up. It doesn't work. He's out the door. Now she has 2 children, 2 different daddy. And this could happen more than 2 times, maybe 3, I would say, in somebody's life. So it's not just some woman that's out there just going and kicking it up with everybody. Isn't it always amazing how it's always the woman? Anyways, that's another subject completely. But statistically, our children are living in homes of heterosexuals. Not gay people, heterosexuals. We're the ones that are marrying, we're the ones that are breeding, we're the ones that are divorcing, we're the ones that are knocking up women and leaving them, we're the women that are left trying to struggle to feed children, and if we're lucky enough to have an ex-husband or ex that pays the child support and is very active in their life, that's awesome. Because not everybody's a deadbeat dad. There's some amazing dads. And we even have households where the dads are taking care of the children because the mom up and split with some boyfriend. Unfortunately, it happens all the time. But do you see the straight people theme there? So this whole family values thing, if we allow them to be able to have some kind of a union that's legalized, really that's a bunch of poopy. Because it hasn't been legal yet. And this little family values that you keep trying to pull forth from Leave It to Beaver just hasn't existed for a long time. Way before the issue of gay marriage was ever brought to a court. So again, it just doesn't hold a lot of weight with me. I think, and I mean, give me your thoughts. As a straight woman who has a gay sister and a gay parent. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. A gay parent. It was sad for me to know that my sister and her partner, that I could do their ceremony for them, and it was an amazing ceremony, that they could have a loving, functional, monogamous relationship where they could pay their taxes, where they could, do everything everybody else does. Everything else. They can vote, they go grocery shopping. They have 2 of the most beautiful baby girls you have ever seen. But they can't be recognized under the law for their relationship. It's monogamous, it's stable, it is functional. Like I said, they pay their bills and they're not sitting on welfare. They're not feeding off the system, so to speak. And they're not out there running around trying to convert other young women, on the softball team to homosexuality. No. They're just normal, everyday people living everyday, normal, existing lives. What I don't understand is why people think that being homosexual is contingent on who they are. It really isn't. That is such a small aspect. For instance, the fact that I have sexual relations with men. Oh, I'm sorry, it's been a while. Anyways, that I have had sexual relations with men really has nothing to do with how I am as an employee, whether I show up on time for work, if I'm a criminal or not a criminal, what kind of laundry detergent do I use, and who do I vote for? Believe it or not, there are gay Republicans. To me, it's a contradiction, but yes, there are. So it's not contingent really on anything. It doesn't really affect any aspect of my life whatsoever. Other than when I walk into my home and I say, "Hi, honey, I'm home." If I'm a homosexual and I'm a woman, it's going to be Becky instead of Bart. How does that affect anything? People say, "Well, I don't think it's fair to force the churches to..." No, you're right. You really should not force. If this is a spiritual belief that you hold dear, your church should not be forced to partake in this type of union. You're absolutely right. Any more than if I were a gay man or woman, would I want your church to partake in this? All the while knowing, while I'm standing there in the happiest day of my life, knowing the person that's performing my ceremony is actually praying for me in my soul. It doesn't sound like a fun deal to me. It doesn't sound fun at all. So I would love some feedback on same-sex marriages or civil unions, legal unions. If we take away the M word, will it make it better? And was marriage really something a union created under God, since, well, marriages have been going on way pre-Christ, under many different religious formats that aren't under Christianity whatsoever, way pre-Christian days. Is it a legal binding contract between two people? And if that's the case, then it's a separation of church and state. Or is it a holy, precious union? And if that's the case, should us straight people step up to bat and be doing a little bit better than we are with something that's so precious and holy? Oh, we could just go on, but I'd love some feedback. Give me your input. What do you think? Just asking.